There is nothing in the scheme. There is nothing in the scheme which connects the donation made to the participation in the electoral process. No. I'm not talking of any instance. I'm talking about the scheme. Please do not interfere. I'm talking about the scheme. I'm not talking about any instance.
What are you hinting at, Mr.
I'm sorry.
What are you hinting at?
You close the account, that's the end of the matter.
You get the money, close the account, but
that's it, and then you spend it the way you want. Let's, in 4, 5, 7 minutes, let me broadly tell your lordships what my submissions are. Your lordships must assume as a given that capital and influence go hand in hand. In fact, under the very concept of a market economy, capital symbolizes power. And it may be in any sector of the economy, as it is in politics. The more capital you have, the more power you have. That's number one. Point number two, the electoral process must be such that it must provide a level playing field to all participants. Fair and free elections, or free and fair elections, is the basic structure of the Constitution. Concept number two. Concept number three, the moment you allow the corporate sector to donate, whether with transparency or without transparency, I'll come to that a little later, it is inconsistent with the concept of a corporate sector which is in the business of doing business. You have a memorandum of association which tells you what the objects of the corporation are. The shareholders put in their money to ensure that the corporation functions within the framework of the memorandum of association. Now you give the power through an amendment of this nature to allow shareholders' money to be used inconsistent with the memorandum of the association. It's a very serious issue. And without consultation and without the consent of the shareholder. Under which law, and I ask myself this question, can this ever be allowed? I buy shares in a company. It may be listed, it may not be listed.
But just one caveat, Mr. Sibal, which is that we are not here on the challenge to the legality of a law providing for corporate donations per se. That wider issue is not before.
No, I agree.
For the reason that's what Justice Chakra flagged, Chief Justice Chakra flagged even in 1958. He said there should be no corporate donation, but we are not really dealing with that.
So I'm not on that.
Really into that area at all, because 293 anyway allowed.
Well, I'm not on that. So, I'm on a wider on
what you said in the latter part of your formulation, without the consultation and the approval of the shareholders.
That's the point. Yes. That's the point. That's why I said.
Otherwise, the broader philosophical perspective that allowing corporate donations is really permitting some form of quid pro quo.
No, Malad, I'm not on that, because my learned friend
has argued that broad area here, because in that sense, the moment we accepted 293, our society legitimized corporate quid pro quo.
Malad, Malad,
but there is an element of quid pro quo the moment you have corporate
Exactly, but there's no doubt
therefore,
about it.
I mean,
that's why
a large public limited company who makes a donation doesn't give it for charity.
Exactly.
Or for, for
that's why I said capital and influence are Siamese twins.
So we shouldn't really in that
I'm not going there, Malad. I'm not. That's why I said that what you're doing in this process is that you are allowing through the electoral bond process to not inform the shareholder as to how his money is going to be spent, right? And that's a very serious issue, because he is invested in the company, not for the purposes of donating to X and Y. That's the third concept. The fourth is even more important. This is nothing to do with the electoral bonds, if you ask me. It is donation to a political party to use the funds as they like. The nomenclature suggests electoral bonds means this is for the purposes of the election. There is nothing in the scheme. There is nothing in the scheme which connects the donation made to the participation in the electoral process. Nothing. It is a means for political parties to be enriched. Why do I say that? I make a donation of 10 crores to a political party through an electoral bond. The political party opens a current account and 10 crores goes into that account. Now that political party can actually give that money to the mainstream media channel and say, you propagate my ideology. Or give a present to somebody. Or do what you want to do with it.
There are no spending requirements.
None, zero. That's the most serious issue. Because you can spend this money any way you like. You can build your offices. You can build your offices all over the country with that money. You can set up a whole network throughout the country with that money. You can use advertising campaign for whatever you like with that money. Show your face 20 times a day. And see the nexus. The corporate sector gives money to the political party. The political party and the corporate sector owns a media house. And just look at the nexus. The corporate donor owns the media house. The corporate donor gives it to the political party. The political party uses the media house. No questions asked.
Constitutional argument. Going on some
No.
personal instances.
I'm not talking of any instance. I'm talking about the scheme. Please do not interfere. I'm talking about the scheme. I'm not talking about any instance. That's the law. But this is, of course, hopefully it is.
Yeah, of course.
I thought we were sitting before 5 judges. I thought I realized by now it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, thank you. Got to know about it from you. The scheme is wholly arbitrary. It has to be struck down on its terms. It has nothing to do only with elections and how you spend your money in the electoral process.
What are you hinting at, Mr.?
I'm sorry?
What are you hinting at?
You close the account, that's the end of the matter.
You get the money, close the account, but
That's it, and then you spend it the way you want. Well, this is not a scheme for well, I can understand. Well, quite frankly, I can understand the corporate sector being told that we impose a cess like education cess. You impose a cess on the corporate functioning of companies. With that cess, you have a capital, and capital you distribute in accordance with the representation in the Lok Sabha. So everybody has the same amount, and the same money can be used for that. What you are doing now is entirely different. You are saying you give me as much money as you want to give me. That Aziz argued, Mullah, that
Your submissions, this is not money for electoral participation, but money for
enriching the
political party,
Yes.
individual party.
It's just enriching the party.
There are no spending requirements,
No,
there's no
what's
auditing
no-
requirement as to how the
no
money is
accountability.
utilized, nothing.
No accountability. Absolutely no accountability.
What's the next point?
The last point, but the
Yes.
fifth point, is that in fact it protects the nature of the scheme protects those who have committed a crime.
proviso says, provided that B, in respect of each such voluntary contribution, other than contribution by way of electoral bond in excess of 10,000, such party keeps and maintains record of such contribution and the name, address, and address of the person who has made such contribution. So again, the requirement of keeping a record is omitted for electoral bonds. And then, my lord, D, no donation exceeding 2,000 rupees is received by such political party otherwise than by account pay check drawn on a bank or an account pay draft or use of electronic clearing system through a bank account or through electoral bond. So everywhere, my lord, electoral bonds have been not only introduced, they have been exempt from disclosure under the Companies Act, under the Income Tax Act, under the Representation of Peoples Act, etc.